Open fire.
Take it easy, will you, Henry? Relax. It's under control.
I got a hole in my leg the size of a f***ing small dean. You're telling me it's under control?
You're gonna have a hole in your head pretty soon if we don't get out of this. Vito, do
Fuck the
something!
cops! Do it, doctor, now!
Hey everyone, Brian Eckberg here. I'm at the 2K Games booth, and we're talking about Mafia 2 with Denby Grace. Denby, a sequel to the original Mafia from 2002, but as you were telling me beforehand, a sort of spiritual successor, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's set in a whole new city, a whole new set of characters, you know. It's still in 2K Check's version of America, so Lost Heaven's somewhere over here, and then we have Empire Bay over here, yeah. So, like you say, it's a spiritual sequel. It is very much Mafia 1, but very much Mafia 1 7 years later, you know, for the current generation of consoles.
Now, we saw the game in the room there. Tell us about what you're showing today.
Yeah, so what we're showing today is a mission called the Buzzsaw, you know. He's a hired gun at this stage. It's quite from the early part of the game. He's actually been hired to take out this guy called the Fat Man. Fat Man's running an illegal distillery on Mafia turf, and he's refusing to pay any sort of protection money. Now, everyone knows what happens when you don't pay any protection money, you know. Eventually someone like Vito Scaletta comes round and asks for that money. It gets pretty gnarly, shall we say. He fires an MG42, blows up all his cars, kills all his goons, burns down his distillery, and then ultimately he dies. But in the process, Henry, who's a partner in crime with Vito, actually gets wounded, and then Vito has to escort this guy to the Mafia family doctor.
Yeah, it's definitely very dramatic, and one of the things that stood out for me was you guys are going for a real cinematic quality for this game, very narrative focus. Can you talk about that focus and how it's sort of driven your development?
Yeah, sure. Just like the original Mafia, man. The cinematic focus and this strong narrative really is paramount to the Mafia experience. You know, we've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort sort of making this dialogue, the VO recording, all this stuff as realistic and as cinematic as possible. Obviously it's inspired by the Mafia movies we all know and love, but we've gone to great lengths sort of in our research and in the recording of this stuff just to make sure it comes across as real and as sort of compelling as possible, you know.
That said, this is still a game. It's an open world game. Combat, tell us about what you can about gameplay. What are your goals?
Yeah, so it's an open world game, as you say. You know, we have like 100 interactive locations here. One of the coolest things about Mafia for us is the fact that when you do go into these interior locations, they're much more detailed than other open world games. You know, they're much more like something like a third-person shooter. They have dynamic environments. We have physical objects that can be destroyed, and it really is exciting. We use a cover system. You know, it really is sort of an intense, action-oriented game for these gameplay moments, and that's the real big difference, I think, and the real big step up that we've taken from Mafia 1 to maybe Mafia 2.
Now, you mentioned the guys that are your sort of wingmen in this game. Tell us about that and what sort of purpose they serve in gameplay.
Yeah, sure. Vito is accompanied on this mission by two guys, Joe, Vito's childhood friend, and also Henry. And Henry's a made man for the mob. He's the one who actually gets these guys the mission. So the way the wingmen support you is they kind of perform a supporting role in the combat. Vito isn't a commander or anything, he doesn't order these guys about or anything like that, but basically Vito is the lead man in our game. So they follow your sort of like guidance as you run through the level. You know, they will take sensible cover points behind you and around you. Release date wise, it's coming PC, PS3 and 360 early 2010.
Thanks, Denby, for that. That's a look at Mafia 2 live from the show floor at E3 2009. GameSpot's coverage of E3 continues.